My name is Harvey. I'm currently the Chief Program Officer, which means I oversee the treatment programs being provided through Wedgwood. I've been here for 30 years and have kind of worked my way through multiple positions to be at this point.
So what brought you here initially 30 years ago?
Yeah, I've always, since the early years of college, I really felt called to work here. And so at that point in time, you had to be 21 to be able to work direct care. But at about age of 19, I would apply pretty regularly to try to see if they would let me in early, but they never did. I had an opportunity to have a lot of different people at my church who also worked here, so I really understood what Wedgwood was and who they served. And I was just really passionate about being able to work with kids who have stories where they're struggling and where their family life is rough, and I wanted to be able to provide a positive impact into that.
So you started as an intern?
I started as a direct care my junior year in college. Yep.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So can you walk us through a little bit of your journey with Wedgwood and the different roles you've had within the organization?
Sure. The first probably 8 or 10 years I was direct care in the homes, in our open programs, and then in our secure homes. I worked mostly with boys, but then eventually moved to when we had a family empowerment program where we could work directly with parents and help them build structure into lives for kids so they could go back home. That was a great program, and I really enjoyed that. And then probably the next 8 years or so, I moved into foster care. We had a foster care program then. So I was a case manager, and then I moved into supervisor role. And then I moved over to community and helped oversee larger community programs until recently when I became Chief Program Officer.
Wonderful. So you've had your hand in a little bit of everything.
I have, yeah. It really helps to be able to understand what your staff go through when you can have worked it also.
Yeah,
so.
That's a great point. So what has kept you committed to this organization and mission for so many years?
Yeah, I've really fallen in love with the mission, and I think my as I've grown and matured, I think my thought process has grown to really want to be an administrator who can really support our staff. Those are really hard jobs, working with people, and it's messy and tiring, and so I want to be able to help them grow and learn how to do that for the long term and really be able to provide great care, but also while taking care of themselves and being great people.
An important thing for a supervisor to be able to take care of their team.
Yes, absolutely. And be able to do it in a way that helps them stay healthy and can still give back.
How have you seen the needs of the community and those we serve change over your time here at Wedgwood?
Yeah, I think over the years, I think there's been a lot of influences, but I do think kids struggle at an earlier age. I think there's a lot more anxiety. Families are also struggling. More parents are having to work all the time, so they're not always available and don't have the energy to invest in their kids all the time. So I think families in general are struggling more, which causes our kids to need more, interface with adults and more counseling.
So how have you seen Wedgwood respond and adapt to these changes?
I think we've been very adaptable, and I think we've grown over the years to be able to not just focus on, initially it was just the clients and just the children and the adolescents, and we've been able to expand that into early adulthood and in the whole spectrum of age and adulthood. I think we've realized that to impact a child is really valuable, but to be able to help that family is where the long impact is going to happen. So if the parents are struggling with something, we've been able to provide services to help along that line too.
Because then it creates a healthy home environment for the kid to continue to grow and heal.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think makes Wedgwood unique, and how do you see that playing out in the way we provide care and support for kids and families?
I think that our reputation is strong, and I think when people, refer families and children here, I think they do that because they know that we are very professional, that we take our job very seriously, and that we invest in the kids. I think, all of our staff are here for those children, and so that radiates through the agency. I think that foundationally is because of our Christian faith. And I think we always aren't outward about that necessarily, like at a court hearing or, it's much more indirect. But I think that is what upholds the reputation and helps the individuals to know that we're a safe and trusted community here.
So what does it mean for you to work for a Christian organization that is dedicated to both excellence and showing grace?
Yeah, grace has been a huge part of being here. I think, all of us here work together and we do our best every day, but we need to show each other grace. And I think that extends to the clients and families that we work with. And I've had so many opportunities to help individual kids learn grace, and I've had to apologize to them and their families, and they've been able to learn how to do that also by watching me and other people do that. And so those two really are all the same word for me, professionally excellent and grace, because we can own our mistakes and be able to grow and move into the next day.
It's beautiful. Is there a particular story of a kid that you have found to be impactful and has stuck with you over the
Wow.
years?
I have 30 years of kids.
Right.
So I think, there's been a couple situations where we have worked, as we work alongside of our kids. And I think back to my first few years when I'm 21, but they're 18, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
So you're almost the same peer group at times. And I think there's a few of those relationships that I've been able to maintain, that now they're adults. So they're in their 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just really fun to watch them have families and grow into really, successful adults, and be able to know that there was just a small piece of Wedgwood that played into that. And they've worked hard for everything they've earned, and there's been a lot of people who've poured in, but it's fun to be able to have that longstanding, relationship that you can see how they've blossomed.
Mm-hmm. Do you hear back from a lot of former clients?
Not a lot. I mean, over the years it's dwindled, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's probably two in particular that I still see regularly and stay involved in, to be able to see how they're doing. So
That's great.
yeah.
What is one thing that you think would surprise people to know about Wedgwood?
You caught me on that one. I think people would be surprised to know that our staff really work hard to work as a team. And I think that those relationships, when you work here, you really do gain friendships,
Mm-hmm.
because of the intensity of the work, because the nature of who the people are that we hire. And I think it's more than just a workplace. I think it becomes part of a family.
Mm.
And I think Wedgwood, when people leave here, they don't, there's always so many mixed emotions, but I think they also feel like they're leaving a little bit of their family behind.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a piece maybe people don't really know about Wedgwood.
Yeah. What brings you joy in your work and in your personal life?
I think for me, the joy I have here at work is just really the people who work with me. There are so many great faces and people who have so much talent and gifts around here at Wedgwood, and I just feel blessed to be a part of that. And if there's anything I can do to just help them be more successful, then that's what brings me joy.
Mm. So you've talked a lot about what it's like to work at Wedgwood and why you've chosen to stay here for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to someone who's thinking about starting a career in this field and potentially working at Wedgwood?
Yeah. I mean, I think they definitely, if they're going to work in the career, they should work here. It's been a great place to build personal skills and to build professional skills. I think the work is hard, but there is a lot of support around individuals. And there's ways to really learn resiliency and be able to, have a hard day and know that tomorrow can be better, and to be able to see the bright side. I think our kids can be really tough sometimes, and it can feel personal. But when we're able to process with the team around us or with just individuals around us, it can help us to step back and recognize that the kid is, in the process of trying to heal and is suffering. And if we can pull ourselves out a little bit and get resilient, that we can really make impact and make change.
That's great. Well, Dawn, it was lovely to hear some of your Wedgwood story. Thank you so much for joining us and for all you do for this organization, our community, and the children, teens, families, and adults in West Michigan.
Thank you.